Growing up, society taught you to follow the script by choosing a career path and climbing the ladder. But for many people, this promise falls flat. Work suffocates them and life becomes painful. Here, you're trapped in what I call the corporate cage. Fortunately, there's a way out. You can take control of your corporate job and unlock a life of freedom. I call this living uncaged. Hi, this is your host, Matt Doan. I'm a coach, creator, and entrepreneur. Uncaging people is my mission because it's been my exact life journey. This show provides you the stories, principles, and tactics to make it happen. Welcome to Uncage Yourself.
Hey there, my friend. Today I want to talk about investment. Not just purely the financial investments that I know we're all so obsessed with, and for good reason, but I want to get deeper on this concept with you and show you what a lot of us are getting caught up in these days and the average mediocre results that it produces. Remember, we're living the uncaged life. We want to create remarkable results in our lives, right? Now, before we get started, just a reminder, if you're getting great value from Uncage Yourself, I'd really appreciate if you jumped on over to Apple Podcasts and or Spotify and left a quick, honest review. It really helps us get the word out to those we're hoping to serve. All right, now on to the episode. I'd like to start with a quote from my friend and fellow freedom coach, Maurice Philogene. He said this: "Few people know how badly fees kill wealth." Here, Mo is talking about 401k programs. This is where you're investing year over year, usually through your employer, to save for retirement. It's deferring your ability to access those funds until retirement. And he's highlighting here how we just don't understand the fees involved and what we're getting hit with as we let that investment take place year over year for decades. And over the course of this time, a family, a person gets hit really badly. They get taxed. Why? Because of their apathy, because they don't do the research, they don't do the education, they don't understand what this one path is doing. It's the popular path, and they go down it because that's the popular path. Now, Mo's warning here about 401k programs, yes, this insight matters for your finances, but today, I'd like to extrapolate this idea more broadly. Here's the problem. Most people are willing to 401k their life away. Here's what that looks like. You're planning to live in the future, not now. You can't access these deposits for decades. You can expect 40 years of grinding. You avoid making any life-altering bets in the near term. You play it safe, slow, and steady. And you'll likely pay a lot of taxes while you're investing like this. And as Mo says, fees, they just eat away at your wealth over time. And when we have this 401k mindset, right, we blindly start to make these safe and secure investments because that's what everyone else does. And we might think about this and say, well, surely the crowd can't be wrong, right? If everyone's doing it, then it can't be wrong.
Hey there, quick break from the show. I'd like you to head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. There you'll find a masterclass I built that I'm really proud of. You'll see how you can end corporate burnout, reclaim 30 to 50% of your time, and learn to be there for loved ones. This is my absolute life's mission, so I'm really proud to share this masterclass with you. Again, head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. All right, back to the show.
Mo's point is really that there's a whole industry that makes it look like the 401k deposits you make are the appealing, most sensible thing to do. That's their job, to make it look that way. And let's be clear, in this episode, I'm not here to knock the 401k. I'm not here to knock any sort of investment plan. I believe deeply in the idea of financial compounding. But again, when you step back But what I'm here to highlight is a deadly trap. When you 401k your life away. This means purely living for the future. It's never about now. It's always safe. It's never adventurous. So we've got to ask ourselves, how did we end up like this? Well, there's two big reasons that I'd like to break down with you here today. Number one, as a society, we're addicted to safety nets. And number two, we're programmed to chase the deferred life plan. Let's start with the first one, being addicted to safety nets. You see, we work hard for safety nets. Our survivalist, risk-intolerant brains, we are wired to seek safety nets. We want these safety nets because they bring us options. We love options, right? The problem is we keep collecting these safety nets without ever cashing in these options. As the blogger Jack Rains said, we become obsessed with creating optionality. In tandem, I'd like to highlight a snippet of writing from the Harvard professor, Dr. Mihir Desai. He talks about optionality can actually bring lots of trouble. Optionality isn't always a good thing. Here's what he says in a recent piece. This emphasis on creating optionality can backfire in surprising ways. Instead of enabling young people to take on risks and make choices, acquiring options becomes habitual. You can never create enough option value, and the longer you spend acquiring options, the harder it is to stop. The Yale undergraduate goes to work at McKinsey for 2 years, then comes to Harvard Business School. Then they graduate and go to work at Goldman Sachs and leave after several years to work at Blackstone. Optionality abounds. This individual has merely acquired stamps of approval and has acquired safety net upon safety net. These safety nets don't end up enabling big risk-taking. Individuals just become habitual acquirers of safety nets. The comfort of a high-paying job at a prestigious firm surrounded by smart people is simply too much to give up. And when this happens, the dreams that those options were meant to enable slowly recede into the background. For a few, these destinations are in fact the dreams come true. But for every one of those, there are 10 entrepreneurs, artists, and restaurateurs that get trapped in those institutions. So you can just close your eyes and see this journey unfolding as Dr. Desai highlights here in his article, that we just keep creating optionality for optionality's sake. And yet we don't ever use those options. We just keep collecting these safety nets, building these options for some time in the future. And inevitably, this future never comes. We just keep creating options for ourselves. Optionality is only as valuable as the thing it allows you to commit to. And if you never commit to something, that optionality dies with you. It's worthless. It's unable to be redeemed. Instead, we should think about it differently. Doing something meaningful implies giving up optionality. Think about buying a house, getting married, having kids, or spending money on something big and meaningful. All of this reduces optionality, but all these things, to many people, are worth doing. So this endless pursuit of optionality just results in us deferring everything to a future that may never happen. We have to break this cycle. So maybe you see yourself in this situation. Maybe you've been creating options for years, doing all the things, going down the default path, checking all the boxes. It's time to start living, start cashing in these options. Please don't defer. Now that brings us to our second point, the deferred life plan. I found a recent poll of high net worth millennial investment bankers, and I found some pretty shocking, yet not so shocking stats. In this poll, more than 50% of the people earned more than $250K, and 11% actually earned more than $750K in a year. Now, you've got to ask yourself, well, surely these Ivy League MBAs and all these 80-plus hour weeks, they're paying off, right? Look at their salaries. Life looks dreamy on the outside. It seems like they've made it. But inside, when you look at those survey results, these people are actually freaking out. They admit they have no time, their health is hurting, they crave connection with others, and if given the option to continue on their current career path, only 3% would continue down this path. As successful as they are, only 3% would continue. That's telling. Right here, this is a perfect example. These people are collecting safety nets and options at a breakneck pace. They see all their peers doing it, all their bosses before them. This is what's been role modeled for them. So they do it too, because that's what success looks like. But as Kay High, the writer and former investment banker, said, these people are living the deferred life plan. Here, you're just trapped in a hamster wheel. Lacking any plans or commitment to use these options, you just keep collecting options. We're deferring life. The deferred life plan is a sad one. You don't want to get yourself caught up in this. You might feel that right now. So if you feel yourself deferring living, as if you're just 401k'ing your life away, it's time to step back and think about this. Is this the life I want to live? Are all these options, are all these safety nets actually creating the life I want? Am I proud of what I'm doing here? Am I proud of what I'm creating for my family, for the next generation that I'm creating here? And you know what? With all this deferral, who's to say you'll even have the chance in the future to use these options? Cash them in now. Cash some of them in. Use it to create a life you're proud of, to build new things, to create something of your own, to even carve your own path off the default one. Okay? So we've talked about two things here so far. Talked about the idea of collecting safety nets. We're addicted to them. And the second one is this idea of the deferred life plan. It's what many of us are doing right now. So in summary, let's go back to the idea. Please do not 401k your life away. Here's the bottom line. Your kids are only young once. I want you to notice your windows of opportunity. They won't always be open. Your prime years will soon evaporate. Don't assume you have tomorrow. This whole life-changing business that's been awaiting you and you've wanted to start, please don't defer it. Get to it. Think of what you can do, the impact you can have, the life you can create, those you can serve. And if you just want to feel alive and free, we can't keep deferring life. It's a choice now, okay? So no doubt, safety nets and options, they're valuable. I'm not discounting them. I understand the idea of managing risk and creating options for yourself in the future, but not if you defer 100% of their usage into old age. I know you don't want that, so wake up and choose differently right now, okay? Aim high, bet on yourself, open new doors, do it now. Don't 401k your life away. One last thing for you. If you'd like to live the anti-401k life, I invite you to book your breakthrough call with us. Head on over to matthewdoan.com/talk. There, you'll book your breakthrough call. And in that call, we're going to spend 45 minutes together doing three things. Number one, we're going to look at how your current job situation is limiting your life. Secondly, we're going to look at the exact life you could create if you chose to commit to it. And thirdly, we'll walk through the exact game plan for you to create that career in life, one that you're proud of, one that is no longer caged, but uncaged. So head on over to matthewdoan.com/talk and book that call. All right, my friends, that's what I have for today. Hope it helps you.
Hey, Matt here. Thanks for listening to Uncage Yourself. For show notes and more content like this, head over to uncageyourself.fm. And if you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Until next time, be well, my friend.